What's going on? Oh, probably should be mine full screen. Look at that. There we go. Great start to our first live show. Welcome, everybody, to our very first live episode of Inside the Horseshoe. I am Matt Beer. Today, we're going to be talking about the injuries that happened last week. Just briefly going over just week 2 in general, and then we'll give our predictions for week 3. So I am going to introduce the guy right next to me on the bottom of our Streamlab thingy right here. We're going to be introducing Kevin Poss first. Kevin, how you doing today? Oh, I removed you. Now here you are.
All right. I'm doing all right. A little upset from last week because the Falcons laid a big ass egg and fucked up at the end there. But it's all right. So you got to be a fan no matter what. So yeah, looking forward to another good week of football.
Definitely. I've definitely have seen the Colts blow games too, so I feel your pain there, man. Next, we're going to introduce one of our favorite papas in our community. He's sometimes the best dad, sometimes he's the 50th best. It depends on the week and how everybody feels. It's Papa West. How you doing, Jacob?
I am doing good. You can tell this is live because I got to listen to the intro and actually give my live reaction to it. I love that intro. That is awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty badass.
Yes.
Thank you. I made that with the power of my iPhone. Not a plug there, guys. And then we're also going to introduce Alec Miller here. Alec, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm sad for my Texans team because we're about to go 0-3 probably, but it's all good. I'm excited to talk some football. My favorite sport of all time, so ready to get into it.
Absolutely. You guys might have the roughest first 3 games of the season. Like, seriously, you start out with Kansas City, then you go to Baltimore, and then you have to play Pittsburgh just to top it off.
We're going to Pittsburgh. So.
Yeah, you're going to Pittsburgh. So it at least it's not that difficult once you get past these first 3 games. You get some easier game from, here on out, but yeah, that's rough.
Shit, the way the AFC South is playing, it's going to be a tough division because Jacksonville looks good, Indy looks good, and and Tennessee looks good, and Indy looks like it's starting to put it together.
Yeah, who knew Jacksonville was going to be playing as well as they have? They seem to just get rid of everybody. It's like, look, we're going to get Trevor Lawrence. We're just going to tank. We're going to rebuild from here, and then here we are. They're almost 2-0. They're like a drive away from being there, but, Minshew throws a pick, which, it is what it is. But yeah, let's go over some of the injuries really quick because I think there were 7 torn ACLs this past weekend. Like, it's insane. So you have Nick Bosa, he's out for the year. You have Sutton, he's out for the year from Denver. You have Malik Hooker on the Colts, out for the year. Also on the Colts, you have Paris Campbell out for who knows how long at this point. Saquon Barkley's out for the season. Drew Lock is going to be out for a few weeks. Christian McCaffrey is going to be out for a few weeks. I don't remember a week where injuries were this bad. Maybe in the preseason, but regular season, this is like the first time I've seen anything this bad. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's rough.
I would say probably because there was no preseason. You had to kind of hint at
I
that.
agree.
Yeah.
No warrant, no reps, no nothing. You're going practice speed, and there's nothing like game speed. And everyone was saying get rid of the preseason. And it's boring. Doesn't matter. I think we're starting to see what happens when you don't have that preseason.
Yeah, it's like. Oh, go ahead, Jacob.
We usually see whenever training camp first starts up and in the preseason, maybe 1 or 2 really bad injuries like that, where it's out for the year, but nothing toward in the season, especially 7. That's unheard of. And yeah, it does show. We might not like the preseason, but we definitely need at least 2-3 games.
Yeah,
absolutely. I get the players not real, especially your Aaron Rodgers, some of the bigger players, the guys who have been in the league for a long time. I can understand them not wanting to play preseason games. Some of them just sit out in general. But, not only with the injuries, but for some of the guys who were undrafted, the rookies in general, preseason is very important because, and just looking through some of the injuries right now, just going through like 10 of them. You have Nick Bosa out for the year. You have Saquon Barkley out for the year. Christian McCaffrey, like I said, out for a few weeks. You have Drew Lock, Cortland Sutton, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out more than likely this week. They haven't ruled him out yet, I don't believe, but it's looking like he's going to be out for at least a week. You
They're
have
gonna hold
Devontae
those.
Adams. Sorry.
I was gonna say they're gonna hold like any of those like Drew Lock and
Yeah.
Garoppolo. They're gonna keep those until the very last minute, and then if they can go, they're gonna put them in. If not, then they'll label
True.
them as out.
And honestly, I mean, for the 49ers, even if Garoppolo could play, I could see them sitting him out because you don't want to risk him getting hurt anymore. They're playing the Giants. So they might look at it as like, look, we're not playing Kansas City or Baltimore or Pittsburgh. We're playing, the Giants, who aren't the worst team in the league, but still, if we're going to keep them out a week, we might as well keep them out this week and save them from potentially, making it worse. You have Tavon Young from the Ravens. He's going to be out for, I don't even know how long, but he's hurt. Like I said, Malik Hooker and Brandon Sheriff. Is that how you say his name? The guard from Washington. He's going to be out too. So, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you go to ESPN or whatever, you watch, Adam Scheffler or Ian Rappaport when he's on NFL Network just reporting all these injuries. It's like they're just on almost constantly. So, I mean, it's rough for them. I mean, San Francisco, they're affected. And then, the Jets, they're missing their top 3 receivers. They're missing their starting center, their starting right tackle, and their starting running back. So, I mean, this is crazy. But I do real quick, before we get into some of our predictions for this upcoming week, I do want to go over our results from last week as far as what we predicted, see how many people got right, how many got wrong, were there any changes, and we're going to bring up that graphic right now. Bam, look at that. So Matt Graham ended up going 14-2, which put him at 24-8 overall for the first couple weeks. I went 13-3, which put me at 23-9 for the first 2 weeks. Jacob went 10-6, which puts him at 20-12 and bumped him down the 4th. Alec jumped ahead of Jacob by a game because he went 13-3 this week. He sits at 21-11. Kevin, he finished at 9-7. Better predictions than week 1. He's at 16-6 now. And then Bruce, from last week, his first episode, he went 12-4, and Steve the Pirate went 10-6 for his week 2 predictions. We will continue to add those up, and maybe we'll have a prize for the person who has the most games predicted correctly. But before we get into some of our week 3 predictions, were there any surprises this week as far as some of the games? I mean, regardless of if a certain team won or lost. I mean, because for me, I think the Chargers, playing as well as they did with Justin Herbert playing pretty much last second because a doctor decides let's puncture Tyrod Taylor's lung, which kept him out for last week, and he'll also be out this week. Don't know why I forgot about that. That doctor's fired. I mean, if he's going to do that,
I was looking at some of his history, and apparently he has the doctor I'm talking about has like 2 DUIs. He already has like messed up with the team a couple times. Like, why is this guy still hired by the damn team?
Yes.
Why
That's
is
crazy.
this guy working on your quarterback? Like,
you're injuring
exactly.
you're injuring the most important player on your team. He's going to be out for who knows how long. Who knows how well Justin Herbert would have done, especially going up against Kansas City.
I think he did well. Herbert did
He did
as well
really
as
good.
possible. He was throw for throw with Mahomes until the end there.
True.
Yeah,
I mean,
he gave me a big FU because I was the one that was like, I don't believe in him, and now I got to change my whole tune because he looked great.
Look, going in before the season and before the draft, even when the Colts didn't trade the 13th pick, people are like, should they go after a quarterback? Should they move up? I was like, look, don't go after Justin Herbert. I just don't see it with him. Yeah, he's got a good arm, but he's not, anywhere near your Tuas, your Joe Burrows. I would take Jordan Love over him. Packers listened to me on that, but Justin Herbert, he balled out last week, and he's going to be starting this upcoming week. I have confidence that he's going to have a really good game again. I mean, who knows? Maybe Kansas City wasn't prepared for him. Maybe that's why he played as well, which I don't think is the case. And maybe next week or this upcoming week, teams will be more prepared for him and then he'll end up stinking. But I doubt that's going to happen. He played really well, and they almost beat the Super Bowl champs. So, I mean, you got to give credit to him there for sure. But yeah, just the Chargers being as close as they were to Kansas City was a big surprise to me. And then I think the other is Jacksonville. I thought, look, week one, teams aren't going to play as well as they will or could, or at least most of them, just because there's no preseason. Training camp is not as long. There wasn't as much time getting ready. So week one was more of like the preseason, and then you get into week two, and that's where you kind of get back into what we think is going to happen. And Jacksonville looks good. Like, I'm shocked. You know, like I was thinking Jacksonville would go 1-15, maybe 2-14. They might win 7 or 8 games this year if they continue to play like they have. Minshew he's playing his heart out. I think he's heard, kind of from everybody, oh, you stink, you're going to be gone next year. And he's probably just trying to prove a point here. Like, look, I can start in this league. You don't need Trevor Lawrence on Jacksonville. You got me. And I love his attitude too. So that was a big surprise. But were there any other surprises for you guys this week as far as just some teams in general?
My biggest surprise was Vegas.
Yes.
They were kind of my dark horse of making the playoffs because I definitely saw them being much more improved than they've been. But I did not see them beating the Saints, and especially like that first quarter. It looked like it was going to be all Saints, and they were able to come back and tie it up at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I've been confident on the Raiders. I thought the Raiders would go, like 10-6, something like that. Would really surprise some people, and then get like that 7th spot, maybe the 6th in the playoffs. But I mean, I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they're better than what I thought they were even. I mean, Derek Carr, he's playing really well, I think. The defense is much improved. Yeah, they look like a real threat to pretty much anybody they play this week. So, yeah, they're definitely one for sure. Trying to think, is there any other teams, maybe some players that really just came out of nowhere and surprised you guys too?
I want to talk about, I mean, it's not really a surprise, but maybe some people were surprised by it, but the way Cam played against the Seahawks.
True.
He showed that everyone that wasn't willing to give $1 million for him is, crazy, because so many people, you look at all the quarterbacks in the league, like I was personally saying that Chicago should have went and got Cam. The New England Patriots were kind of a surprise because Belichick's normally not going to pay guys, and then when you see his contract, you're like, oh, okay, that's why.
True.
But guys like people like Chicago, think of plenty of other places. Like there's so many other Minnesota, like how Minnesota's doing,
True.
and they could have had Cam because I think he's playing like probably he looks in similar form in his MVP season.
Absolutely. I mean, just seeing how well he's played this year and what it costs to get him. Look, I'm happy with Phillip Rivers. Just like I know he had there was one interception that's not on him at all. His stats do say 3 picks. Should really be 2, but whatever. But I would have took Cam. Just after seeing what he's done, I wish we would have took Cam Newton over Phillip Rivers. Because he's younger, so that's good. And, he's able to get the ball around still. He can run, which Phillip Rivers can't do. So he definitely gives you more options. So I definitely would have took him. And I'll be honest, I thought the Patriots were going to finish 3rd entering this year because I thought Miami was going to be much better than what they are. They might compete for that number 1 spot in the AFC East. They still might do it. And I don't know, maybe it's Bill Belichick. That's just really rejuvenated Cam and made him play pretty similar to what he did during that MVP year and even his first year. Yeah, New England's definitely surprised me for sure.
Yeah. And Belichick has a new toy basically. Like
True.
he hasn't had a quarterback that can run like this. I mean, Jacoby
Yeah.
could get outside the pocket, but Jacoby
Yeah.
Brissett's nowhere near the talent level that
No.
Cam is. Like he's got a shiny new toy.
Mhm.
The receivers seem to be rallying around him. I'm seeing Julian Edelman catch deep balls, like I've never seen him do before. So
Yeah.
it just looks like it's all clicking down there and up there in New England.
Right. I mean, just think of the Bears. They could have drafted Mahomes. They could have drafted Watson. Go with Trubisky. Then they could have signed Cam Newton in the offseason. But they go with Nick Foles. They pay him a pretty good amount of money, and they're not even starting Nick Foles.
The
It's
Bears
like-
are like the kings of competing without quarterbacks. Like they're in the
Yeah.
85 Super Bowl, they had their quarterback was middle line. When they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Colts, they had Rex Grossman.
They had Rex Grossman. Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm so happy they had Rex Grossman.
That's
that year.
just their norm. They think they can do it without a quarterback, and I think this league's shown that you need a top flight quarterback to get up there.
Yeah, because you used to get away with just running the ball, and that would have been fine. But this is a passers league now.
Yeah.
You I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty convinced Trubisky's gone after this year. But then again, it's the Bears. They're probably going to sign him to a 4-year deal, like $400 million.
Patrick Mahomes deal.
Yeah, they're going to do something like that. But they're going to pay him $100 million a year. So I hear, just take our entire salary cap.
Yes.
Just take it all. But no, I think we're going to get into week 3 real quick. Now, we did pick this game on the last episode, but I had no idea when we were going to record. After seeing week 3 or week 2, I do want to give people the option of kind of deciding if they want to stick with their pick, and that is our today's opener, and that would be Jacksonville versus Miami. It is, I believe, in Jacksonville, but they play in Florida, so really it's not much of home field for Jacksonville. I'm going to start with Kevin here. Who do you have in this game?
Yeah, like you said, it's Miami is just not performing as well as what I thought they would this year. And Jacksonville, it's like somebody forgot to told them that they maybe were supposed to tank the year. So yeah, I'm going Jacksonville over Miami.
Okay. Now we're going to go to Jacob. I believe you picked Jacksonville whenever we record the episode. Are you going to stick with Jacksonville, or do you want to go with Miami?
So I made 2 predictions for this game. I said Jacksonville was going to win, and I said this was going to be the week we see Tua. I am not changing either of those picks.
Okay.
It has come out that DJ Chark is probably not going to play because he's injured, but the Jaguars still do have a couple weapons at receiver. And just watching Josh Allen tear apart that Dolphins secondary, especially because what's his name? Byron Jones isn't playing either. Their cornerback that they just signed. They're definitely having some secondary issues. So I do see the Jags winning this one.
All right.
Yeah, I think they have 2 cornerbacks down, right?
They might. I know Byron Jones is definitely out, but I'm not sure about the other. But yeah, if he is out, then that's not good for Miami. Now we're gonna go to Alec. Who do you have in this game?
As much as I hate to say it, I'm gonna go Jacksonville too. I think that Gardner Minshew is playing out of his mind right now. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder. I actually picked up one of the Jacksonville receivers in Keelan Cole. And I'm gonna start him tonight. So hopefully, I'm gonna get a big game from him. But I said that I told my brother-in-law, because he's a Miami fan, that I don't believe the Dolphins will win a game until they start Tua. If they don't start Tua, then I'm gonna keep that prediction going, because I haven't been wrong yet.
Absolutely. And I do want to say real quick, DJ Chark is out tonight. They did rule him out, so that will hurt their offense for sure, because he is a Pro Bowl receiver. However, for me, I'm also going Jacksonville. I would love it if Jacksonville lost, because that just helps the AFC South. That helps the Colts and all that good stuff, and gets them closer to first. But I had a lot of confidence in Miami. I thought Miami was going to make the playoffs. I thought they were going to be second. They're not. They're going to finish third because the Jets are in their division. That is the only reason why I believe Miami will finish in that division. I would agree with you, Jacob, that you might see Tua in this game, but Fitzpatrick did play better than he did week 1. So I feel like unless he just plays like trash tonight, I don't think we're going to see Tua this week. I do think we're going to see it in a few weeks for sure, but I don't know if I haven't heard anything like great about Tua in training camp at all. I haven't really heard anything in general about him. So I think they're still kind of getting him ready. I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll play tonight. If he does, I won't be surprised. I just don't think it's going to happen. But I don't care how well Fitzpatrick plays. The Jaguars are going to win. Minshew is on a mission. I think he wants to prove to everybody, hey, I'm a starting quarterback in this league. And the fact that he's doing what he's doing with the team Jacksonville has, I think it's impressive. So I will give it to Jacksonville. Look, they might be a dark horse in the NFL for sure. They might cause a lot of problems for teams they play in the future. So, yeah, never thought I would say that. Jacksonville wins this week, and that will put them at 2-1, which could put them at tied for first again in the AFC South. I mean, you never know. So now we're going to move on to our first 1 o'clock game on Sunday, and that is Houston Texans traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Obviously, Big Ben's back. They're 2-0. The Steelers did almost lose to Denver last week, so that is something to remember for sure. But we're going to move to Papa here. Jacob, who do you have in this game?
Yeah, so I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. I don't know who the Texans pissed off because this is like the hardest 3-game opener I've seen any team play in recent history. But I have the Texans coming up with the mysterious win in this one. The Texans are mad. They got their butts kicked twice. The Steelers do have a really good defense. They are amazing at stopping the run, but we've seen them have issues stopping the pass. And the Texans do have a pretty good passing game that I definitely see is going to work in their favor and get them the win.
Okay. Now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this game?
I guess no surprise. I also picked the Texans, but for a different reason. I picked them more because, one, I've talked to like my brother and some people that Big Ben guarantees you a couple of things. Guarantees you a couple touchdowns, but he also guarantees you about at least one interception and a couple of sacks per game. And the way that the defensive line was playing last week against Lamar, because that defensive line was doing really well against Lamar Jackson until the offense started coughing up the ball. If they play like that against a less mobile Big Ben, I think he's going to have a hard day. So, yeah, and like you said, they're mad, they're pissed off. JJ doing something I've never seen him do, which is call out a player. So I've never seen JJ do that before. So he's obviously not in a good mood. So I think it's gonna be a good defensive game, and hopefully the offense can the offensive line can hold up because it's been bad.
So I think this game's going to come down to one thing. Which Watt brother plays better? So you have J.J. Watt. If he can cause a lot of problems to Big Ben, force some bad throws, that could give Houston the win here. However, if his brother, T.J. Watt,
TJ,
if he gets to the quarterback, which, look, he's a monster. He very well can do that. If he gets to Deshaun Watson, then that's trouble for Houston. But I'm going to go Pittsburgh in this game. I feel like Houston's secondary isn't really that great. So while they can bring pressure to the quarterback, I mean, you got guys like Chase Claypool, Juju, that can break free. Big Ben's got multiple guys to throw to, so I feel like that's going to hurt the Houston defense. And Pittsburgh has one of the best defenses in the NFL. They might have the best defense in the NFL currently. I think that defense is going to cause a lot of issues to Deshaun in the run game. And it's not like they have Hopkins anymore to where that's just a safety blanket where it's like, okay, if things are going wrong, we can get to Hopkins and, we'll have a lot of success with that. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh in this game. I think Pittsburgh's winning that division. I've been saying it. This team is really, really good. I know they did struggle towards the end in that Denver game, but I don't think that's something to worry about if you're Pittsburgh at all. So now we're going to go to Kevin, and then we'll move on to the next game. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I would like to think that the Texans can keep it close, but like you said, without Hopkins, and then also, they lost by 14 in week 1, 17 week 2. So I just don't have much faith in them right now. So I'm going to go Pittsburgh over Houston.
Alrighty, so now we're going to move to our next game. And this one is pretty intriguing to me, which before the year started, I would have thought the other way. I thought this would have maybe even been a blowout, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals going to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Both are 0-2. Both are surprising me in completely different ways this year. So we're going to start with Alec on this one. Who do you have in this game?
So I have not seen anything that I like with the Eagles. I've seen a lot that I like on the offensive side for the Bengals. So I'm going to go with Joe Burrow and the Bengals getting their first win. First of probably very little wins, but I think this is going to be their first one. So I'm going to go Bengals.
So this game is very intriguing. So Carson Wentz has been having issues being protected, and Joe Burrow is having issues being protected. So I think it's going to come down to what defense shows up and plays better. Because I know Carson Wentz was getting a lot of hate last week. I saw some people saying start Hurts instead, blah blah blah. I still have faith in Carson Wentz. I like Carson Wentz a lot. I think he's going to bounce back in this game, and I'm actually going to give it to the Eagles. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Burrow's going to get his numbers. He's going to get his touchdowns. I just feel like the Eagles are a better team, even though they do have some issues they need to work out right now. I still think there's a chance they can win that division. They're only down one game, so it's not like they're completely out of it. So I'm going to give it to the Eagles. I think they get their first win today or this weekend. And I think the Bengals are going to start at 0-3, which, I think is to be expected. This could very well be like a Peyton situation to where team's not really good. They don't have a great year, but next year Cincinnati comes in and they have a really good year. So, Kevin, who do you have in this one?
Yeah, Philly has their linebacking quarters just looked real weak. And I don't think they've put up over like 20 points. I think it'll be close, but I'm gonna go Cincinnati over Philadelphia.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Jacob, our resident Philadelphia Eagles fan. Who do you have in this one?
Now you might be asking yourself, Papa, are you going to pick the Eagles to win every single game this season? No, I am not. But it is that trend is not starting today. I do see Philadelphia winning this game because, Matt, you said it. Both quarterbacks are having issues being protected. Philadelphia has a much better defensive line than Cincinnati has. So I just see Joe Burrow Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon not having a lot being able to happen. It is going to be pretty close though, just because we've seen Burrow be able to throw pretty quickly, get those quick shots out, and the Eagles don't have the best, or actually have like the worst linebacker group in all of the NFL right now, and they have had issues with the secondary. Although Darius Slay, he's been very quiet recently. Watch him to have a good game this week. And Carson is not an idiot. He has been hearing all this stuff going on. He should have a really good game Sunday as well.
Absolutely. So now we're going to move on to our next game. And before we do, if you guys have any questions for those watching, please drop them down below and we will answer them at the end of the stream. So now we're going to move on to the San Francisco 49ers, who have a lot of injuries right now, playing the New York Giants, who are also dealing with an injury that will really affect their team, I believe, with Saquon Barkley. The 49ers are looking for their second win, while the Giants are looking for their first win. And I'm going to start this one out. I got the 49ers winning this game. Look, I know they got a lot of injuries right now. Here's some of the injuries we have right now that they're dealing with. And I believe these are guys that may not even play this week, or at least most of them, if not all. We have Tavon Austin, Ronald Blair, defensive end. We have Nick Bosa, Tevin Coleman, Dee Ford, Jimmy Garoppolo, Dre Greenlaw, Tim Harris, Jalen Hurd, Richie James Jr., DJ Jones, George Kittle, Raheem Mozart, Weston Richburg, Debo Samuel, Richard Sherman, who is out this week. He's out through week 4. Julian Taylor, Solomon Thomas, Chris Thompson, Jason Ferret. That is a lot of guys on a team, and they have more injuries than I think anybody else in the NFL right now. But I'm still taking the 49ers. I just think they're slightly better, even with all these injuries. They're slightly better than the Giants coming into this game. Now, if the Giants had Barkley, different discussion. I might give it to the Giants. However, I think it's going to be close. I think it's actually going to come down to the final drive of the game, because I think Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones himself, he's going to get some numbers. He's going to get some points. He's going to keep them in this game. He is, I think, going to surprise a lot of people who are still doubting him about how well he'll play throughout the entire year. But that Barkley injury is going to really hurt them. So I'm going 49ers barely. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, this one is a definitely a toss-up. I mean, San Francisco, I've never seen an injured reserve, or an injury list like that. Yeah, DeForest Buckner, that worries me. There are a lot of ones that worry me about that. But on the same token, I think that maybe I don't know. I'm gonna stick with my gut. Yeah, it kind of depends though on Garoppolo or Nick Mullins playing, but yeah, I'm gonna go with San Francisco over New York.
Absolutely. All right.
Although them playing 2 games on the East Coast in a row does concern me. I will say that out loud.
That is true. We'll see if that turf is fixed. So now we're going to go to Jacob. Who do you have in this one?
So my biggest question is, who is going to start at quarterback for the 49ers? Is it going to be Garoppolo or is it going to be Mullins? If Garoppolo starts, I think they'll be able to win. But from everything we've been hearing, is he's probably going to sit out this week just to stay healthy. So I foresee Nick Mullins getting the start, and I actually see the Giants edging it out. Daniel Jones has, at most parts of the game, has looked amazing. And I mean, they lost by like 10 against the Steelers, first game of the season. Last week they almost beat the Bears. They did lose Saquon, but they did sign Devontae Freeman this week, which is a really nice pickup. And they have no injuries on offense other than Saquon. Their only person that is on the injured list right now is Adrian Colbert, their safety, who's only questionable. So they are really healthy right now. I see this being a shootout, but I see the Giants just barely edging it out with the win.
All righty. So now we're going to go to Alec real quick. How do you see this one going?
I'm gonna basically echo everything Jacob said. I think in these past 2 weeks, Daniel Jones has been showing that he is a good quarterback in this league. If he can just limit the amount of red zone interceptions he throws, which I think is very easily, he can fix that. That's not going to be a hard thing to fix. And I think the amount of injuries that defense has compared to, obviously, Saquon Barkley is the most important part of the offense, but they showed last week that they were able to rally even when he went down. So I think if they have a full week of practice, getting Devontae Freeman ready, I think they're going to have a really good game. Daniel Jones is going to put up some big numbers. Hopefully, he limits the interceptions. Until Garoppolo comes back, I just don't know about this 49ers team yet. I think he's probably the most important part now. Before it was Nick Bosa, now it's definitely Garoppolo. So I'm going to give it to the Giants this week.
Alrighty, so we are all split on that 50-50. Next, we're going to a game I'm finding very intriguing. We have the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to New England to take on the Patriots in a game that might rival Monday night's game as game of the week, maybe game of the month at this point. The Raiders are 2-0, looking really good, and I think surprising a lot of people, as is the Patriots. I think they're surprising a lot of people too, especially with how well Cam is doing. So I'm going to go to Jacob on this one first. Who do you have in this game?
So yeah, this is definitely going to be an exciting game to watch. One thing with the Raiders is they've done a really good job stopping the run. With Christian McCaffrey not doing that much against them. And again, it was 4th and 1. They handed off to the fullback instead of Christian McCaffrey. And then last week did a good job against Breeze. So the biggest success that Cam's been having this year is they get to the goal line and hand it to him. He just runs it in the end zone, and no one's been able to stop that. I do see the Raiders stopping that, but I love those little butts there. The Raiders haven't been great stopping the throw. There's a lot of talk about how Drew Brees is not as good as we thought he was. I mean, the guy is 41 years old, so he's getting old. So I see the Patriots winning this, but not because of Cam Newton's running ability. I see him really having a great job throwing it this week.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
For all the great things I've said about the Raiders this past week, I am going to go the New England Patriots. I just think Belichick's going to have a perfect game plan to combat that offense, the defense. It will be a shootout, I believe. It'll be similar to the this past Sunday night game with the Patriots and the Seahawks, with both quarterbacks having a really good game. I think Gruden has this team maybe like 2-3 years ahead of schedule, which is great for him. But it's going to come down to coaching, and right now Belichick's the better coach. So I am going to give it to the New England Patriots, but this isn't going to be like that much of a setback for the Raiders. They'll probably bounce back the next week.
Yeah, this game could go either way, I think. Like I said, I think Cam is surprising a lot of people. He's surprised me for sure with how well he's doing already. I think New England's defense is doing better than what I thought they were going to do, especially after all the opt-outs that they had with some really, really key players on New England. But I have been really surprised with the Raiders as well. Derek Carr, I believe, is getting back to what he was a while before, like when he was in that MVP year. I think he's starting to get there. I don't think he's there yet, but he's starting to get back to that point. Josh Jacobs is a monster. And I think the defense has improved. I'm going to give this one to the Raiders. I feel like the Raiders offensively can do enough to outscore New England. They got weapons for Derek Carr. Their run game is really good, I believe. And their defense, I think, is good enough to where they can hold Cam down. Because I feel like while Cam is really good at passing the ball, a big part of his the way he plays the game is running. And I feel like that won't be completely taken away because he's so big and fast. But I do believe that the Raiders can hold it, to a minimum. Maybe he'll get a pretty good run and whatnot, but I feel like they can stop that. And I think their pass defense might step up this week. So I'm going to give it to the Raiders. I'm thinking score-wise, this could be like a 38-34 type of game. That's the type of game I think it could be. And like I said, I think this is going to rival Monday night's game as game of the week. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, this one, I actually think that Belichick is gonna just load up the box. I think that the Raiders, even though they are a little bit better on defense, they're still ranking 30th in DVOA. So you bring that against, their offense against New England's defense, which still has Defensive Player of the Year and Gilmore at New England. I just think that's too much to overcome. So I'm going to give it to New England over the Raiders.
Okay, so I am alone on that. That's okay, because when the Raiders win, I'll be the only one right, unless people who submit their votes voted for the Raiders as well, or said the Raiders were going to win. So next, we're going to go to a game that's not going to be that great of a game, and it is the Tennessee Titans playing the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota came off of a embarrassing game with Kirk Cousins looking like he never played football before, first game ever, and they're playing Tennessee, who has a good defense and surprisingly has a good offense all around. Obviously, we knew Derrick Henry was going to, get his numbers, but Ryan Tannehill, he got out of the Adam Gase, shadow, and he's looking better than what I thought he was going to look. So there's that. So we're going to start with Alec here. Who do you have in this one?
So, I mean, it's obvious. I'm going to go the Tennessee Titans. Wish that they wouldn't win, kind of make our case a little better. But I think if the Titans can handle the Vikings just as good as the Colts did, it'll make me feel a lot better going into next week against the Vikings. Ryan Tannehill has been. I don't even think Henry has gotten into his flow yet, and they're playing this good, and it's because of Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has been playing out of his mind lately. Made me pick him up in my fantasy league, and I'm actually considering starting him over Big Ben and Joe Burrow and Baker and all them. Like I'm really considering it. So it says a lot about what Tannehill's done. I was of the belief that Tannehill the reason why he wasn't doing so good in Miami was because he was only a quarterback for very little amount of time before getting drafted. He finally found who he is as a quarterback, and he's going to continue that this week with the Titans getting the win, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, I'm going Titans as well. Look, Minnesota's run defense is not good at all. I believe with Derrick Henry, he might get 200 yards rushing in this game. He's going to eat that defensive lineup for breakfast. And if somehow Minnesota can stop Derrick Henry and hold him to like 80 yards or less, their secondary is not that good either. Their defense as a whole is just not good. And that's crazy because I was thinking, going into the year, Minnesota's defense was going to be really good. But especially with the Ngagwe pickup that they got from Jacksonville. But that defense just hasn't showed up at all. So I think Tannehill's going to have a really good game. I think Derrick Henry's going to have a really good game. And I do think the Vikings offense will perform better because, I actually think the Titans defense isn't quite as good as the Colts. I think the numbers prove that. Assuming the Colts defense plays like they have this past week instead of what they played like against Jacksonville, I do think Tennessee's defense is slightly worse, just slightly, than the Colts defense. So I do think Cook is going to get some yards. He might break 100, but he might get like 80. He was only held to like 65 yards last week. I I believe Thielen is going to get more catches than what he got last week. I believe he's going to catch more than what he did on the first drive. And I believe Kirk Cousins will play better because, to be honest, how can you play worse in that game? So I got Titans winning. I'm going to go something like 30 to maybe 15, 30 to 10, something like that. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, this is a pretty easy one. You got literally the last place passing attack in Minnesota. Like Alex said, Tannehill is playing just lights out. He hasn't thrown a pick all season. You don't want to play from behind being the worst passing team in the league. So definitely Tennessee over Minnesota.
Alrighty. And then we're going to go to Jacob, and then we'll move on to our next game. Who do you have in this one?
Last day of work.
Yeah. So Minnesota has been allowing about 289 yards throwing and 154 rushing on average in 2 weeks. Tannehill has thrown for 488 yards for 6 touchdowns. Henry has 200 yards rushing already in 2 games. They're going to have a really good game against this defense. I do see Kirk Cousins stepping up his performance, getting Thielen the ball some more, getting some of their other weapons the ball some more. Dalvin Cook having a pretty good game, but not enough for the Titans. I think the Titans are gonna get a huge lead, maintain their lead. So it's not going to be a huge blow up, but it's still going to be a couple possession game.
Absolutely. And I hope the Titans lose, but I just don't see that happening. Next, we're going to go to the Washington football team. They're traveling to play the Cleveland Browns. 2 teams with, I think, quite terrible names, but both are 1-1, which one of the teams I would not have thought that was going to happen. The other was more of a toss-up. Yeah, we're going to start off with myself here because we started with Alec on the last one. I got Cleveland winning this game. I feel like Washington in their first game, I feel like that was a case of, look, not everybody's playing to what they should in week 1. Some teams are, like Kansas City, but not everybody is to what they're going to be, for the entire year in their first week. And I think the football team played better than what they should have, and I believe the Eagles absolutely should have won that game, but that is neither here or there. I feel like Baker, while I don't think he's the best quarterback in the league, I feel like he's good enough to move the ball down the field against Washington. I do feel like Chase Young is going to cause some issues because Chase Young is playing really good right now. He's got to be the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year after 2 weeks. But I do like what Cleveland did last week. I feel like the Bengals are a better team than the football team. So I do feel like Cleveland's going to win this game. It's going to be like a 2-touchdown win. I don't know why Haskins is starting. Go with Alex Smith. I feel like if Alex Smith was starting, Washington might win this game, but I don't have confidence in Haskins, so I'm going to give the win to Cleveland. And it won't be close. So we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, surprisingly, I'm going to go with Cleveland. I think that Baker Mayfield's looking pretty good. Washington is a good defensive team, but I think with the coming off of a win against Cincinnati, and also just having the tools that they have, I think that Cleveland can pull it off. It'll be close though.
Absolutely. So now we're going to go to Jacob. Who do you have in this one?
Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. That's all I have to say. Washington does not have a good run defense. Kyler Murray, Kenyon Drake tore apart that defense. And literally, there were a couple touchdowns where Kyler Murray looked like he was just turning around and trying to hand the ball off to someone behind him. Like, y'all want this? Y'all gonna stop this? And the Browns, yes, they do not. Baker Mayfield is not a great quarterback. He's an okay quarterback, but when they have those two weapons, Hunt and Chubb, it's going to be a rough day for Washington. The Browns winning.
Absolutely. And I think we know who Bruce is going with. He's going with the Washington football team this week in a glorious blowout. Don't know why, but whatever. Now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
So I believe that every week you got to have one out there pick that makes no sense. It's just the NFL. This is mine. I'm going to go to the Washington football team just because I don't know who else to pick besides to have have a miraculous win. Yeah, I don't see the Baker. I don't see Baker having Baker have as good a game as he had this past week against the Bengals. The Bengals are a better defensive team, but I don't know. I just don't see that happening again. If it's going to come all down to the running backs, which it possibly could. Like I said, this is my throw it up there and hope that it sticks pick kind of thing.
Hey, you never know. It looked like they were starting to come back against the Cardinals too last week, even though it was a little bit too late. But I guess you never know. Maybe that's their plan: be down and then come back and win. Maybe just be down to the point to where it's like, okay, they're like, okay, we're gonna win this easy, whatever, and strike and win. If that's the case.
I also really like Ron Rivera as a coach. I think that Ron Rivera is a much better coach than I don't even remember his name over there in Cleveland. There's so many damn coaches. So, but I think Ron Rivera is a
rotating.
Stefanski is the coach right now in Cleveland, which first time ever coaching, head coach wise, really good defensive coordinator. Maybe that's why Minnesota's defense is complete trash this year. You never know, but we'll see. Now we're going to go to the second to last 1 o'clock game we'll discuss, and that is the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Buffalo, 2-2-0 teams. Didn't think this was going to happen. Really surprised with the Rams and how well they're playing right now. And Buffalo, I think, is playing to what we thought they were going to heading into the year. So we're going to start with Kevin. Kevin, who do you got in this one?
Yeah, this is really an even matchup. I think it has the lowest line of the week. Yeah, 2-point line. But as far as picking between like Goff and Josh Allen, I am gonna go. Even though I'm gonna go with Buffalo, just on a gut instinct, but yeah, I think this one could really go either way.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna go to Jacob. Who do you have in this one?
I am going to go a little bit different on this one. I'm going to go with the Rams. One thing I really enjoyed about last week was watching Josh Allen pick apart that Dolphins secondary. Just having all the time in the world, Stephon in the end zone, no one covering him. He's not going to have that this week. The Rams are a much better defense than the Dolphins, both on the line and secondary. And we've seen when Josh Allen has a tough defense, he tends to make mistakes. And even if the defense isn't great, they just have a good drive. He makes mistakes on it also. So I think the Rams are going to pull this one out.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
So I'm going with probably the quarterback that I like the most out of these two, and maybe even the defense that I like more. And that's the Buffalo Bills. The Rams have probably been besides the Vegas Raiders have been my biggest surprise because I thought they were gonna maybe possibly stink it up, and I haven't seen Jared Goff play this well since before he played in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I do think that the defense for the Buffalo defense is going to give his Goff's biggest target, which is Higbee. I think they're going to give him a lot of trouble. They're going to be in Jared Goff's face all day. So I'm gonna go Josh Allen in a very, very close game. A toss-up, really.
This game, I think this is going to be kind of a statement game for Josh Allen. This is very important, at least for this year, because up to this point, he's been getting MVP, talks. Like people are thinking he might make a run for MVP. If he's going to make a run for MVP, he's going to have to win this game against the Rams, who have one of the best defenses he'll face all year. You have Jalen Ramsey, you have Aaron Donald. Very tough defense, I think, for a lot of people to go up against. So if Josh Allen is going to take that step to where a lot of people will think of him as like a top tier quarterback, he's going to have to win this game. And if he wants to win MVP, he's going to have to win this game too. I'm going to give it to Buffalo. I believe Josh Allen is going to step up and be able to, get the win. Both teams have really good defenses. I think Buffalo has the slightly better defense in this game. They have a top 2, top 3 defense, I think, in the league in general. I think the other two is the Steelers and maybe the Ravens. I just feel like coaching, honestly, I think is about the same. I do think they're about equal as far as quality, even though, McVay did go to a Super Bowl. I think they're very similar. I'm going to give it to Josh Allen and the Bills. A very close game. This might be a final drive type of thing. Josh Allen might have to win it at the end, but I do think the Bills will win, and I think Josh Allen is going to have a really good game. So now we're going to move to our final 1 o'clock game, and that is the Chicago Bears playing against Kevin's Falcons. One team is 2-0, one team is 0-2. This could easily be 2 0-2 teams playing against each other, but that's not the case. So we're going to start with Jacob here. Who do you have in this one?
So if you ask someone who is not a huge NFL fan, hey, the Bears and Falcons, one team's undefeated at 2-0, the other team's 0-2, hasn't won a game yet. Which team is which? 9 out of 10 would say that the Bears have not won and the Falcons have not lost, which is opposite here, which is crazy. The Falcons had that horrendous game, which onside kick, you got to pick up the ball. Like even if it's 6 yards past the kick, you got to pick up the ball. But one thing that's not talked about a lot, that game was in Dallas, and they were allowing fans.
True.
So I've been there before. Never at an actual NFL game, but I have been at Cowboys AT&T Stadium. The noise travels amazing. That's an amazing TV hanging up above the field also. So yes, the Falcons should be 1-1. That just some things happen to make it not the case. And again, the Bears, no way they're 2-0. How are they 2-0? I see the Falcons bouncing back. Matt Ryan has been really amazing. 723 yards, 6 touchdowns and 1 interception in 2 games. And that's against the Seahawks defense and the Cowboys defense. They also have Todd Gurley running it, who is running it just like the year they won the Super Bowl, up until he had that knee injury. He has been really good too. I see the Falcons bouncing back this week, getting their first win.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
So I didn't want to be the one to bring it up, so I'm glad I wasn't the first one. But yeah, that last play from the Falcons was embarrassing, but it was one mistake. That offense lights up the board. The only receiver that doesn't score. Sorry about that. The only receiver that doesn't score is Julio Jones, but he still puts up yards. This offense is not as good. The Bears offense is not as good as the Cowboys offense. So I don't think they'll be able to compete, let alone weather the storm. So I will pick the Falcons in this game.
Yeah, so the Bears realistically could be 0-2. They are literally 2 plays from being 0-2. That's the funny thing, but they're 2-0. All that matters is winning in the NFL. It doesn't matter how you win it. Could be ugly, but if you win, you can't complain. Um, I'm going to give this to the Falcons. I feel like Atlanta has a much better offense than New York and Detroit, even though I love Matt Stafford. But I feel like the Falcons are going to perform much better. And I don't care how many games the Bears win. They can go 16-0. I will never trust Mitch Trubisky. I will never trust him. I still think he's going to overthrow it a lot of the times. And quite honestly, I think his season could be just like when he played the Giants, where you might have one half that's really good, and then the next half is going to suck. You know what I mean? So I they shouldn't be 2-0, but they are. Falcons should win this game, and I absolutely agree, Madi. I have no idea how they've won a game. It's ridiculous. But you know what? It is what it is. But I do have the Falcons. So we're gonna go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
So yeah, like you said, the Bears are about 2 plays from being 0-2. I feel like the Falcons, in the same regard, are just a few mistakes from being 2-0. That yeah, that was a horrendous play at the end there, but really they had a 20-0 lead in the first quarter. So they shouldn't have our first half. They shouldn't have ever gotten to that situation. But it it really, I think, depends on if Julio Jones is going to be healthy, because he was limping around, not practicing this week, um, or just light practicing. But yeah, there are three certainties in the NFL or in life: death and taxes, and the Falcons having a slow start. 1-7 last year, but then they came back and went 6-2. I really think having a home game, uh, the Bears are not trustworthy. Trubisky's not a solid quarterback. Their linebacking core has had some injuries, so I think the Falcons pound Gurley, and you utilize those other receivers and pull out a win.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to our first 4 o'clock game, and that is the Carolina Panthers going to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. Chargers are 1-1, almost went 2-0, almost beat Kansas City this past week. And the Panthers do not have McCaffrey, and they are not playing great. But I think that was to be expected because new quarterback, new coach. It's going to start off rocky unless you're like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But we're going to start off with Alec on this one. Between the Panthers and the Chargers, who do you have?
So I
There we
think
go.
the Panthers on the defensive side are. Yeah, I think the Panthers on the defensive side are very bad. They are gonna have. They've had a hard time this whole two games so far. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't look great. Whereas with the Chargers, and I have to go with what I've seen, and I won't change it until I see otherwise. Justin Herbert looks really good. He looks like he's connecting with those receivers. The Chargers have so much talent on that end, and so I'm going to pick the Chargers to win this one, probably in a blowout, and one of the blowouts of the week. So I'm going to go, Chargers.
So this is going to be the second game Justin Herbert starts in too. Justin Herbert played really well his first game, especially for playing last minute. I'm also going to give it to the Chargers. I think the Chargers are a much better team than the Panthers. If McCaffrey was playing, might be closer. However, he's not playing. I do like Teddy Bridgewater, but starting out rocky, it's not great. I think Robbie Anderson is a really good receiver, but I just feel like Matt Rule, his first year coaching, not quite there yet. I think they're going to start out 0-3. Chargers will be 2-1, and depending on what happens this week, potentially tied for first. So I'm going Chargers. I'm thinking like a 10 to 14-point game. I don't think it's going to be a slaughter or anything like that. But I do think with the Chargers defense and how well Herbert played last week, I do think that's enough to convince me that the Chargers will win. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, you have a Carolina defense has already given up 65 points in 2 games. They don't have McCaffrey, so I think Bosa just goes haywire on Bridgewater. I mean, I don't like Carolina anyway, but definitely going to go with the Chargers over Carolina.
Okay. And then we're going to go to Jake up here, and then we'll move on to our next game. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, Herbert looked amazing against the Chiefs. The Chiefs defense the Chargers defense was amazing, stopping Patrick Mahomes from tearing him up like he normally does. And then the Panthers, they don't have Christian McCaffrey. Biggest part of their offense that they are without. Gonna hurt them. So they're gonna start 0-3 this year. I do see the Chargers winning this one.
Hello, Maddie.
Hey-o.
Welcome to the show. I know you're not in here very long, but
real life happens. It's only 3:42 my time, and the kid is screaming for Denny, so we're going to. Plus, at 10 o'clock my time, we do have another show to do. So
that is true. So, real quick, do you want to just give out your predictions really fast? We can go rapid fire, whatever.
Crap, I forgot to hold on.
I have the schedule too.
Oh. Okay, yeah. If you got the list, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're in our first 4 o'clock game, but we'll start with the Thursday night. I know you picked Jacksonville to win. However, we are recording it on a Thursday live. So do you want to change your pick, or are you sticking with Jacksonville winning?
No, I think Jacksonville's going to win this one.
Okay. Then the next game is the Texans and the Steelers. Who do you have in this one?
Steelers. Ooh, shit. You think we should go Steelers? All right, yeah, I agree. I think Big Ben's back.
All righty. Then we'll go to the Bengals and Eagles. Who do you have in that one?
My Eagles.
I disagree with that one. I'm gonna go with the Bengals just because the Eagles can't steal one this week.
Caleb, I love you.
Oh yeah. Oh, real quick, check it out. Shout out to our favorite manager.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That came in the mail yesterday.
That looks great.
Caleb's saying of the day was "This is the way," as you could tell.
Nice.
God, my teacher.
We'll rapid fire real quick because I know you got dinner. 49ers, Giants, who do you have in that one?
49ers, Giants don't look like they can steal a game this year. Okay. Even though half the 49ers are sitting on the bench,
That is true. Now we got the Raiders and the Patriots.
Raiders! I just love the Raiders.
That's an interesting one. I'm going to go Patriots, even though the Raiders looked really good last Thursday. Or Monday.
Monday, yeah.
When they beat the
True. I'm not even going to ask you about the next game. Titans and Vikings. I'm not even going to ask you. So I'm assuming you got the Vikings in that one. So next after that one, we have kidding. I know you're going to pick the Titans. Next, we got Washington football team and the Browns.
Washington.
All right. Then we got.
They may have lost to the Cardinals, but they still look pretty good.
Sure. Then we got the Rams and Bills.
Rams? No.
Oh,
Bills.
Bills. Okay.
Bills.
Then we got the Bears Falcons.
Bears.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the kid on that one. Bears. Sorry. In fact, exactly. Falcons can't.
Now we're on the game we're currently talking about. We got the Panthers and the Chargers.
Panthers. I like the Panthers.
I think I want the I think I'm gonna go with the I don't know. The Chargers they're both pretty beat up, aren't they, Papa?
Chargers are starting
Chargers
Justin
not
Herbert
so
like
much.
Not
Um,
so-
yeah, 'cause Tyrod Taylor got punctured in the lung by a doctor.
Yeah.
That's a
So-
discussion for a whole nother time. We could do a whole hour on that one. Then I think
Chargers.
really, even though their quarterback's down.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll go Chargers.
Then we got
Did
the
you
Jets.
not watch him against the Chiefs, Pat?
True.
Did that's
The
the
Chiefs.
only reason I went with them. It's because
Chiefs up.
And then here's,
funny. He told me at the beginning of the year that the Chiefs were his team. So go for
Right.
it.
now we are at the future games we'll be talking about pretty soon. We got the Jets and Colts. Who do you have in that one?
Matt, I'll go with you on this one. That team right there.
Okay. Then we got the Cowboys and Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Ooh.
Cowboys.
I'm gonna go see. Oh
I don't know.
God!
Cowboys.
Shut up, dude. I don't know. That comeback day was pretty hardcore.
Cowboys won.
No, I'm gonna go Seahawks just because they. Yeah. So by the way, I missed 2 last week. Just pointing that out.
We already talked about that, Matt.
I will be right back, guys. I'm gonna pull up the schedule on my end. I'll have you pick real quick, Matt, and then if you guys want to start, we'll start with Kevin on Colts Jets. I'm gonna pull up the thing really quick because I gotta get my dog fed. So I will be right back. So,
So,
you guys are on the
we're-
Cowboys Seahawks.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. So I'll just run those down real quick, and I'll put them in the private chat. So all right. So I'm gonna go. Bucks over the Broncos, Cards over the Lions, and Packers over Saints. Oh God! Monday Night Football is scary.
What?
Papa West, I'd like to hear your opinion on that because usually, you and I kind of go over notes before we do this, and unfortunately, real life happens. What do you feel of the Chiefs and Ravens?
Ravens. I want the Ravens.
So, my feeling towards that game, I feel that the Ravens are going to come out with that. Their defense is built to stop Patrick Mahomes on a couple drives. So I see it being a very good game, a very high scoring game. But the Ravens are going to get a couple more stops than the Chiefs are going to. So I think the Ravens are going to win that one.
What about you, Kev? What do you think? Because I'm still trying to process my decision. So
You talking about for Monday?
yeah. So Chiefs Ravens.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs. I mean, I think coming off a close game against a rookie quarterback is going to inspire them.
Sorry, the conscience in my ear just told me to tell you to screw you, Kevin.
Why?
Would you like to have a discussion on that? I mean, this is the same kid that looked at corruption at Spectacular and gave them 2-finger salute. I mean, so yeah, I think I'm going to go Ravens. Guys, sorry I have to jump out, but unfortunately, screaming kids matter. So Matt, I went Bucks, Cardinals, and Bucks, Cardinals,
Packers,
and Ravens.
Alrighty.
All right, guys. Good show. I will see everybody later. Don't forget tonight at 7:00 or 10:00, whatever you want to call it. Suplex City Chats. We've got a card to go over the garbage fest that was Raw and SmackDown and the Wednesday Night Wars.
All right, there we go. And he left. I didn't get to say bye to him. How wonderful. All right.
All right. So I didn't ever talk about Indianapolis. Is that what you were wanting, or?
Yeah. I did you guys start talking about Indianapolis?
No,
Matt just gave his picks.
Wanted to talk about the Monday night game. So yeah, we kind of got a little preview of that, but yeah, I think the Colts are. I mean, they beat the Vikings by 17. The Jets are just they just look like I don't even know, like a broken team. So yeah, I think this is a pretty easy one. The Colts at least by double digits.
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna go to Jacob next. Who do you have between the Colts and the Jets?
If you have Jonathan Taylor in your fantasy league, start him this week. The Jets could not stop the run against the 49ers' third string running back. They could not stop the 49ers' second string team. So there is a lot going on in New York that needs to change. So yeah, the Colts are going to pretty handily win this one.
All right. Now we're gonna go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
It's the Jets, man. I'm picking the Colts. The Jets are dumpster fire. Fire Adam Gase. Bring back Todd Bowles. 3rd and 31. That's all I gotta say.
All right. So last time I said the Colts are going to blow out a team, the Colts lost. So I'm not going to say they're going to blow out the Jets. They should easily beat the Jets, but I'm not going to say that. Jonathan Taylor should be able to run all over the Jets, but I'm not going to say that. I got the Colts winning this game. It should be a blowout, but I'm not going to say that because last time I said that, bad things happened. So I got Colts. If the Colts lose this game with all the injuries the Jets have right now, then there's a lot of issues and they need to figure it out immediately. I don't think it's going to be the case. Because like I said, Jets are going to be missing 3 of their starting receivers. Jets are going to be missing their starting center, their starting right tackle, and their starting running back. And I believe Frank Gore is the starting running back. And Hall of Famer, he's just not going to do much for you. So, at least at this point. So I got Colts winning this game, and I cannot wait to watch it. So now we move on to the Cowboys, the Seahawks. Cowboys had a insane comeback victory last week, and now they're playing a Seahawks team who won a great game with the against the Patriots. Quite arguably could be, once we're done with the regular season, game of the year. It was a wonderful game. So I'm going to start with Jacob on this one. Between the Cowboys and the Seahawks, who do you have?
So yes, the Cowboys got lucky that the Falcons made some very bad mistakes. The Seahawks, this is a team that's not going to make those mistakes. So I have the Seahawks winning this one.
All right. So now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
I'm going to go with who I have leading as MVP at the moment. That's Russell Wilson. I think that he's been playing like crazy this year. I think he's showing that he's trying to compete with Patrick Mahomes for best quarterback in the league. The only saving grace that the Cowboys have is that when they're behind, Dak likes to really ball out. And this is one of the worst passing defenses in Seattle right now at the moment. So they have that, but I do think that Russell Wilson has enough to pull out the win. Chris Carson's playing really good. Their running game is kind of, it's kind of all coming together on offense. So I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks.
All right. I'm also going with Seattle. I absolutely agree with Madi. At this moment, Russell Wilson is the MVP of the league. It's crazy. I don't think he's ever received a first place vote for MVP before, which is, I don't know how that happens. He should have had at least one. He's so good, and he puts the team on his back a lot too, and he's able to succeed in that way. I just think the Seahawks are a much better team. I think the Seahawks are potentially the favorites in the NFC. I really like their defense. I think their offense is really good too. I could very well see them getting to another Super Bowl. So yeah, I got Seahawks in this game. Not a complete blowout, but they should be able to win pretty handily. So I'm going to go to Kevin. Then we'll move on to our next game. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, this one, I actually think, like Alex said, that Seattle, their defense, just isn't. I mean, they're not even as good as Atlanta's defense, I don't think. So, and they just lost Irvin. So with that, and with Dallas, having that going down 20 off of 4 straight giveaways and a half last week, even though they came back to win, they didn't cover the spread. It's a low spread. I think it'll be a shootout type game, but I do think that Dallas has the advantage over Seattle, so I'm going to take Dallas.
Okay. There we go. So now we're going to move on to our next game, and that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Denver Broncos. Obviously, Denver doesn't have Drew Lock in this game. Sutton is out for the year. Von Miller's out for the year, so not quite as strong as what we thought they were going to be. But they did almost win last week against the Steelers, even with their backup quarterback in. So I'm going to start with Alec. Who do you have winning this one?
I have Tampa. I think Brady has kind of found his footing with that with the Buccaneers offense. He looked a lot better than he looked in Week 1, in my opinion. If Shady, he even had a little bootleg that was a really nice pass to Shady McCoy, and Shady dropped it. But he's starting to connect with Mike Evans. The Broncos are not as good as I thought they were going to be, and with Drew Lock being gone, and I believe it's Driscoll starting for them, they're going to have a rough time against this defense, because Tampa does have a really good defense. So I am going to pick the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm going Tampa too. Tampa's defense is really good. They really figured it out towards the end of last year, and they're going to be tough to beat, I think, when their defense plays well, and I think they're going to play well this week. I know Denver almost won last week, but I don't think it's going to be enough. That son of a bitch, Tom Brady, figured it out. It took him a week, and he figured it out. So, look, the Tampa run game is going to be really hard to stop. Tom Brady can throw the ball still. I don't know why. I don't know how, but he can still do it. I mean, it shocks me. And they didn't have Godwin last week as well. So, I got Tampa winning this game. I just think Denver has too many important pieces missing, even though it's only like a few. It's not like, the 49ers or the Jets where they're missing like half their team. But still, I mean, missing your starting quarterback is not good. So I do have Tampa winning this game, unfortunately. So we're going to go to, well, never mind. We're not going to Kevin. He left. So we're going to go to Papa. Who do you have in this one?
All right. So this is my interesting game. The Broncos almost beat the Steelers last week with Jeff Driscoll. That's a name you never think you're going to say with someone having a good game. But then also, this game is in Denver, and teams have issues in that altitude. So I'm not going to say but this time.
No.
I definitely see this game being a lot closer than what we're thinking. But now I'm going to say but. I do think the Buccaneers are going to pull it out. I see them winning by maybe 10 points, and it's going to be close back and forth. But then the Buccaneers get a touchdown or field goal close to the end of the game to ice it. But it's going to be a close game with the Buccaneers barely pulling out.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Kevin here. Who do you have in this one? Okay.
Yeah, I think this. I'm going to go along the same lines as what Jacob was. I caught the tail end of what Jacob was saying. But actually, I think it'll be a blowout though. The Broncos don't have Drew Lock, Sutton, or Von Miller. Tampa Bay's finally got Godwin and Evans back. I think Tampa Bay just is rolling right now. Unfortunately for the Falcons, but yeah, I think that they even with the mile high thing, I still think Tampa Bay just tears them up in Denver.
Okay. So now we're going to go to our final 4 o'clock game we'll discuss, and that is the Detroit Lions playing the Arizona Cardinals. There are 2 Alex in here now. I am so confused. I am It's confusing. It's strange, but we're going to go with it. I don't know which one to add. Do I keep the one that's in here right now, or do I take out the one and put this other?
I'd put the new one in.
Here, we're going to put the new one in. Get out of here, old Alec. That's
We
right.
feel like new
We got
Alec.
the new one.
New Alex better.
The new Alec is better, potentially. Oh, there's one gone. There we go. Okay, we made the right choice, guys.
Yes.
Made the right choice.
Yay!
There we go. The right Alec is here. So now, I think I'm the one that's supposed to start with this one. I was confused.
I think it's you starting because Alex started the last one.
Detroit is a team that really should be 1-1 right now. They're literally a dropped pass away from being 1-1 at least. But I love Matt Stafford. I really do. I think he is, next to Tyrod Taylor, the most unlucky quarterback in the NFL because he's on Detroit. And that says enough right there. I got Arizona winning this game. I just think they're too much. I mean, that offense is going to be really, really hard to beat, and they're making a case that they might finish first in that division, even over the Seahawks. I'm very curious to see the Cardinals and Seahawks play against each other and see how that goes. And at this moment, I think a guy you can throw into the conversation too is Kyler Murray for MVP. He's really playing well in this, this year, both running and passing with the ball. It's hard to stop him. He's really having a breakout year, and he played quite well, I thought, his first year for the team he had. But you add DeAndre Hopkins, and that team really just is taking off. So I got the Cardinals winning. I don't think it's going to be close. I think it might be a similar score as to like last week with Detroit and Green Bay, where it's like 42-21 or something like that. So yeah, I mean, I just can't see him stopping Kyler Murray. Now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I agree with you, Matt. The Lions haven't covered a spread in the last two in the last 13 games, and they are -5.5, or Arizona's -5.5. So that being said, Arizona is just really a healthy team. And they are, I mean, I said at the beginning of the year, in our preseason, whatever you want to call it, picks, that Arizona was going to be a better team. Hang on, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that, with Trufant out and a lot of injuries to the Lions and Kyler Murray playing lights out, I'm going to give it to Arizona.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Jacob. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, so in 2 games, Hopkins has had 22 receptions for over 200 yards. He's been lights out. And the Lions have given up 200-plus yards in both rushing and passing in each of the last 2 games. So they've had a really big issue stopping teams, which Kyler Murray, I'm not going to say is Lamar Jackson.
No.
I don't think they're in the same boat, but he definitely has shown a lot of improvement from the last year. He's gonna have a great career, and he's gonna have a really good game against the Lions, just like he had against Washington last week. So I have the Cardinals winning this one.
All righty. So now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins is a good receiver. Who knew? I'm still very salty about that. But I love DeAndre. I love Kyler. I think Kyler is a future star in this league. Unfortunately, the Lions just can't seem to always pull it together or put everything together. And I think that the Cardinals defense mixed in with this high octane offense that the Cardinals have, the Lions are going to have a very hard time. I'm looking at it similar to how they played against Detroit this past week. So it's going to be, I think, a pretty big blowout here as well for the Cardinals.
Alrighty. So now we'll move on to our Sunday night football game, we have the Green Bay Packers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, Packers are 2-0, and the Saints are coming off of a loss Monday against the Raiders. So we're going to start with Kevin on this one. Who do you have winning this game?
This one is an interesting game because I feel like we're seeing Drew Brees kind of go over his amazing Drew Brees self hump. He's 41 years old. I think he's just hit kind of a plateau here. And this season being weird just isn't helping that. They still are 3.5 point favorites, so it's kind of hard to pick against that. But after the egg that they laid in Las Vegas, Aaron Rodgers and Jones, they just look really good together. So I'm gonna go with Green Bay in a pretty close game.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Papa. Who do you have in this one?
So before I do that, breaking news: Pac-12 is going to play 7 games starting in November.
Oh, wow. Hey.
So
shocking.
Watch Inside the Horseshoe. You get breaking
Sure.
news. I like this week. We're having some really good, at least good games on paper.
Yeah.
These could be horrible to watch because that does tend to happen. But this is definitely a game that I can't wait to watch. You have Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, two of the best quarterbacks who don't have the awards to show it. Brees with no MVPs, that one Super Bowl win. Rodgers, I believe, has one MVP and then one Super Bowl win as well. Both teams have had really good seasons. It's only 2 games, so it's not saying much. But one thing is Rodgers has been tearing apart his defenses. Biggest thing, though, is he's played the Lions and the Vikings. So this is going to be the toughest defense that the Packers have played. So they're not going to have the success that they've been having. I still don't like the Packers defense. Again, they only have played the Vikings and the Lions, and the Vikings really made it close. So I'm kind of giving the edge a little bit to the Saints, but again, it's going to be a close game.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
I'm gonna pick the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers is looking really good this year. He's definitely also in the MVP discussion. Him and Aaron Jones just seem to be clicking on all cylinders. He seems to have a good camaraderie with LaFleur. So I'm gonna pick them. This is gonna be the hardest defense that they faced, but Derek Carr just sliced up this defense, and Aaron Rodgers is definitely better than Derek Carr. Another thing is Drew Brees is really missing Michael Thomas right now, and I think that's going to only get worse as the weeks go by.
Yeah, I was going to say not having Michael Thomas is going to hurt Drew Brees for sure. This is going to be a really good game, or at least I hope it is. But I'm going to give it to the Packers. I feel like while the passing defense for the Saints is really good, if the pass isn't working on Green Bay, they can run the ball with Aaron Jones. I mean, he's having a great year again. He had a great game last week. Granted, it was against Detroit. Still had a really good game, I thought. And I do like the Packers defense. I don't think of them as like one of the best defenses in the league, but I do think they're good enough to where they can contain Drew Brees because Drew Brees doesn't have Michael Thomas. He is 41 years old. I think this is it for him. I think this is going to be his last year, for sure. I would love to see Drew Brees bounce back, especially after a lot of the hate he got this past Monday. But I don't think they're going to win. Even if he has a great game, I'm still giving it to the Packers because Aaron Rodgers, I know we've said in the past he's angry, he's pissed. But after hearing some interviews, he seems happy, and that might be more dangerous. So I'm giving it to the Packers. I I just think the Packers are much better than what I thought, even. And that's crazy because they did finish second. They might even win the NFC. They might finish first. And that's very important this year because only the number 1 seed will not have a wild card game. Everybody else will have to play in the wild card. So we'll see how it goes. I got the Packers winning, close game. Devontae Adams not playing hurts, but they do have Aaron Jones, so that definitely helps them. So now we're going to our final game, which might be game of the week, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs playing against the Baltimore Ravens. Two of the best teams in the league, let alone the AFC. Could be similar to that Kansas City Rams game from a few years ago. That was like really high scoring. Might have been last year, if I'm not mistaken. It's either last year or the season before. But granted, great game. This could be something like that. We're going to go to Papa first. Jacob, who do you have in this one?
Yeah, so I did talk about it a little bit earlier when Buddy G was here. A great shootout game. I just see the Ravens have a very good defense. I see them being able to stop Patrick Mahomes a couple drives that at the end of the game it's really going to count for them. Whereas I don't see the Chiefs stopping Lamar Jackson as much. So I see the Ravens winning it.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Alec. Who do you have in this one?
I think this is going to be one of those games where whoever has the ball last is going to win this game. This offense on the Ravens has every chance of going back and forth with the Chiefs. I'm going to go based off of what I saw this past week, who looked better, and that was, for me, Lamar Jackson looked much better this past week. Granted, against a lesser defense, but I also don't believe very much in Kansas City's defense. However, if you give Patrick Mahomes the ball with 30 seconds left, he's gonna pull a miracle out. But and this is a close one. This is another toss-up, and I'm just gonna go with my gut. Say the Baltimore Ravens win, but I would not bet any money on it. I wouldn't even bet $1 on this.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't either. This is going to be a fantastic game. You have two of the best quarterbacks in the league going at it against each other this Monday. Baltimore has the better defense, I believe, for sure. But I'm looking at it. This might be comes down to the end of the game. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I cannot count out Patrick Mahomes in this game. And like I said, if the Steelers are going to win their division, the Ravens got to lose at some point. This is going to be the game they lose. So I got them. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you got?
Yeah, I kind of revealed my hand earlier whenever we were talking with Matt. But yeah, Kansas City, I mean, Baltimore is a 3.5-point favorite. Anytime Mahomes has been an underdog in his NFL career, 6 times he's either pushed or covered that spread. This definitely, I'm with Alec and Matt, everybody, that it'll be a tight game. Probably come down to whoever has the ball last. And in that situation, you got to go with the champs. And so I'm going to go with Kansas City.
All right. And just like last week, we're going to predict our Thursday night game really quick. Super quick if I can get this stupid thing to load for me. So we'll kind of do rapid fire real quick because if we do record kind of like on a Thursday like this, it will give us some time to choose. This really should be rapid fire. Broncos, Jets. I'm going to start out Broncos. Who do you got, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm going to take Broncos.
Okay. Now we're going to go Jacob.
I hope we record the next episode before this game. Because right now I'm saying the Broncos.
All right, then we'll go to Alec, and then we'll tell everybody where you can find us.
Broncos.
Okay, there we go. And that will do it as I went unfocused for a second, but I'm back. Thank you, camera, for bringing me back. So we're going to go around the table, find out where we can find each and every single one of us. So, Kevin, where can the people find you?
Hey, you can find me pretty much everywhere. Facebook is probably the best place. Kevin Poss. I am the commissioner of TM Geek on TMG Trivia. we're about to start our tournament to crown the first, the inaugural Team Geek champion. So we have a match dropping at 8, a very good match between Nico Rigoli and Robert Kastner. So check that out, and tune in for news about the tournament that'll be coming up.
Absolutely. So now we're going to go to Jacob. Where can the people find you?
Find me all over the place. TMG Entertainment. I run late TV fights. I help out with all the other leagues. And then also TMG Trivia. I run the Teams League. I help out with the other leagues as well on that one also. And then I do also run, along with 2 of the other people on this call, TMG Sports. We just had our first match against Kevin and Alex. So watch as we throw out a ton of matches with that here in the near future.
Alrighty. And now we're going to go to Alec. Where can the people find you? As you're muted, but I'm going to, no, I can't unmute you.
There we go. There we go. You can find me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. And most importantly, this Monday on the ANS podcast, me and my partner Jesus will have Andres Ace Cabrera on to talk about UFC 253, I believe it is, this upcoming weekend, which is Adesanya versus Costa. So Monday night at 8 p.m. CST, 9 p.m. EST, and then 6 p.m. PST. So yeah, definitely check that out for next week, guys, and see y'all guys next week.
All right. And you can find me on here, on this channel, doing this show on After Dark, and all other stuff from time to time. So, for everybody here, thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.